Yay.
Hey, so
Hi.
we are live
We
for
are.
episode 6 of International Expansion Explained. And my guest today, Laura Cortes, is a Mexican who's been
Yes.
living, studying, and working in China for the past
Yes.
10 years, 12 years even.
12 day.
12
Yeah.
years
12.
now. Yeah, oh my word.
Yes.
And Laura has really had this opportunity to benefit from the opportunities and these huge opportunities that China offers. So she's been able to, let's say, really strengthen her financial situation. She's also, I think, you've also been able to make life a lot better for your mum, as far as I
Yeah,
remember
yeah,
from
very
our
good.
discussions, which is also
Yeah.
fantastic. And Laura's been involved in product development, logistics to quality control, and now she's working in international accreditations. And at the moment, she's at the Bay Area Compliance Lab Corp, which is a third-party testing lab
Yeah.
that has around 30 branches worldwide. So Laura's worked with brands like Hello Kitty Mexico, Lamborghini Mexico, KLM, Next in the UK, Xiaomi.
Yeah.
So lots of names that we all know.
Yeah.
And yeah, and Laura also runs her own business, Olingo Co., which helps people outside of China to learn how they should verify a supplier, how they can review a product that they're wanting to purchase and manage their logistics. And in difficult times like now, more and more people want to become more independent and they want to develop their own products. So I
Yeah.
am really happy, Laura, that you have the time for us to discuss today and we can really
Yes.
talk about sourcing. So thank you and welcome.
No, thank you so much for inviting me. It's always super nice talking to you. We always have a good chat when we talk about, sourcing, where we'll talk about developing business in China. I think you, like me, have a strong connection with this country, and it's always nice to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's, to be honest, it's really one of my favorite topics to talk about.
Yeah, yeah,
But
me too.
but maybe you can start out by telling us, how did you actually get into international business and how did you arrive in China as a tourist?
Sure. I will try to make it not too long. But, well, like you said, I'm from Mexico and I study international business back in the university in Mexico. And since then, they already try to teach us more and more about China. And, we used to call it, and I don't think it's accurate anymore, the sleep giant, that one day will wake up and shake the world. I think that was when I was like 20. Now it's definitely woken up. I really was interested in studying abroad. I found a scholarship that I'm doing a business case, and they sent me through the government of Mexico and the government of China to study Chinese and business. And through this scholarship that I had, I was able to get an accreditation for myself as an APEC consultant, senior and junior, which allow me to be able to understand more the culture and doing business between China and, at the time, Mexico. Uh, but this was what opened the door for me to develop more and more a business, not just with my country, but with other countries now. And I had a chance to do business with Latin America overall, like Brazil, Peru, Chile, Mexico, the US, Germany I've done, like Spain as well, UK. So it has been quite a ride that I enjoy.
That's quite a variety. And I
Yeah.
think China is also quite a challenging market to work in and to live
Yeah.
in as a foreigner. So
Yeah, it is. It was way more challenging back in 2009 when I arrived than now. Well, actually, probably the people that are here stuck in China, and I have few students that have taken my courses, that they have been stuck. They have been in quarantine for a long time. They might disagree with me, but it was challenging before. Now the challenges are different, but I feel like it has improved a lot. Like even though it doesn't seem that way, if I compare for 12 years ago to now, I do feel that it's more open because there is a lot of influence from foreigners. Even the way you do your visa has improved if you have the right contacts, like, and they advise you well, you can do it correctly. I feel like it has become better in some ways.
yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
think it's always going to be a bureaucratic country because it's simply so large that
Yeah.
they have to keep it somehow under control, and
Well,
that's
yeah.
really not so
Yeah.
easy. That's really
Yeah.
not so easy. Yeah. And so, how did you arrive at where you are now? Because international accreditations and sourcing in China, this is one of those like huge topics that when I look, there are so many people who, when you talk to them about China, for me, China was always a country that I was looking to sell to. But there are really a huge group of people who their only contact for China is to buy from. And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
when people contact you for help in China, are they looking for you to do the work for them, or are they looking for you to teach them how to take care of the different steps and to do it themselves?
So most of the time when people reach out to me, and they still do, is to develop products for them in here. And slowly I've been trying to change that part. Like instead of me developing for them, I want to teach them how to do it themselves. It's like my new goal, because I have such a long experience in manufacture for different products. I, I did it for over 10 years until I changed to testing and certification. And I have people from Honduras, I have people from Mexico, and I have people from other places that they really want to do it themselves, and they want to try something different. They want to do their own brand, or they want to do e-commerce, or they want to do drop shipping, and they are a little bit confused on how to start. And now I want to tell them how. I still have people definitely asking me like, find me these products and this. And I have the services with a business partner that I have from Colombia. Like we still can offer this, but it's not 100 my main goal. Like I really want to teach people how to do them themselves, or at least to have the right tools for them to understand how to start.
Yeah. No, I think that is
Yeah.
so important because even if they ask you then to actually source the products for them and to do
Yeah.
that part of the work, they should be able to judge whether what they're getting is what they actually need or not. And for that, they need the tools that
Absolutely.
you're teaching them. They need to be able to say,
Absolutely.
okay, how do I check or if I don't buy the products through Laura, I go through somebody else in future, then what are the things I need to look out for? I mean,
Absolutely. I recently, a person that wants to take one of my courses, actually, he asked me, like, how would you guarantee that if I take your course, I will get like the suppliers I want? And I said, to be honest, nobody can guarantee you that. The tools that I'm providing to you, or that I want to give to you, is that you have critical thinking, so to speak, on how you need to select your supplier, so you minimize the risk. Because
yeah.
even the brands that I work with, they have been like having troubles. Nobody can avoid trouble, but if you have the right tools, you should be able to solve those problems in the best possible way.
Yeah, and I think that I'm guessing that some of those tools that you're giving them, they're not only tools which are applicable for China, those are
Oh,
like general regulations, like general rules or general guidelines. Let's say if you buy a product from Vietnam or from Brazil, then you also should apply that same kind of critical thinking. And maybe you
absolutely.
need a little bit different tool, but it's basically the same idea, I'm assuming.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. You got it 100% right. Even have a course that is about importing from China. And I mean, I call it like that because I'm focused on it. But if you take the steps to it and you apply it in another country, it should be absolutely the same because it's the core of international business. And I mean, that's why when if you study international business in one country or in another country, we might have different terms, we might have a little bit different culture, but at the core, it's the same.
Yes. No, exactly. I mean, at the core, you only have so many different payment terms and you only have so many different options for actually doing this
Exactly.
basic
Exactly.
logistic part of the job.
Yeah, yeah,
And
absolutely.
and so when people come to you, what are really the top three questions that they're asking you for help with?
Yeah. So the top three questions, and I posted this on my main page as like, how can I start a company in China? What product can I buy from China and sell it in my country? And the last question is like, what's the most popular product in China? And when I was younger, these were questions that I did myself as well. And when I started in this, I also did these questions. And I realized that they were the wrong questions, but they still ask these questions. Because if you go and you want to start your business by developing a product from China, and sometimes just buying, right? Doing trading, because no
Yeah.
matter how you call it, drop shipping, e-commerce, no matter, you're doing trade. You're buying from another person something that is already made, and you're selling it. They don't really understand that it's just not as simple as that. You don't ask, what can I buy from China? I mean, you can buy everything from China. Like, if you set your mind to it, you can do anything you want. The right question should be, what's your goal? What's the plan that you have with this customer that you have? Those are the questions people should be asking, and know what product they can buy from China. You don't come to figure it out what you want to do. You come already knowing what you want to do and develop it. That's the whole point of this country, and I feel like that's the whole point of why they have grown so much. Because if you have the mind to it, and you take the time to really do it, you will be able to develop any kind of product.
Yeah. For sure, especially in places like Shenzhen, if you're looking at electronics, then you can build samples much faster than I think anywhere else in the world.
Yeah, I mean, electronics, garments, shoes, medical supplies, like everything, like there are things that I never even heard before, and I was like, what is this? Like I like skincare, furniture, anything you want, honestly. You can find anything. And if it's not there and you have an idea, if you understand how to do it, you can make it. So it's more about understanding if you can really have a feasible business. And by that, you start by understanding who is your customer.
Yeah. And I think it's also about having a plan and a strategy and a clear idea up front. What is it,
Yes.
like you say, what is it that you want to do? Are you looking to be the next iPhone in the field
Yeah.
of, I don't know, in the field of something? Or
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
or you're just looking for the 100th cordless headphones that are just 1 cent cheaper than the ones that you see at the moment on Amazon? Because I think that's the difference, isn't it? Are people looking to
Yeah.
develop something that they can also use as a brand, or
Yeah.
are they just looking to make a profit and they're going to trade on volume? This is
No, absolutely. I think you nailed it, because if you are thinking about building the brand, the strategy is one way, and if you're thinking about just reselling out of doing like just regular trade because you just want to do the profit, which is perfectly fine. We are all doing this for having a better life, having more income. The strategy is also different. The marketing is different. The way you source is different. The way you do your business plan is different. So people come to me and they ask, what can I do? And I'm always like, you need to define what you want, think about it, be honest with yourself, and then just go for it.
And so, which are the questions that people should really be asking you, but they don't ask you?
You know, they, I think they should be asking me what mistakes to avoid is one of them. Like if they're doing sourcing and they already have an idea of a product, they should come with a product already defined and ask me what are the things that they should avoid and pay attention to. So I can give them the tools so they can do them on their own for the future, right? Like the whole
Yeah.
teach me how to fish. No, don't give me a fish. I will never know. And the second thing that they should ask me is about accreditations and testing for the quality of the product, because I was shocked to see that not a lot of people, especially entrepreneurs, although they start doing, they don't understand the different markets, different standards, different quality, different documentation that you need in order to export your goods from China to your country. And they really need to understand all of this because they don't want surprises. I have few customers that have come to me for help because their goods were stuck in customs because they didn't have the right paperwork. And I'm like,
Yeah.
it's like, this is a question that you need to ask.
Yeah.
Like,
I think
what do
that
you really need?
yeah. And this is a very basic question that's actually really very easy to find the answers to, because almost every country has this service that says, if I'm exporting from here to country A, or if I'm importing from China to here, what paperwork do I need to have, and what certification do I need to have? I think unless you're really bringing in something very obscure, where maybe it's a little bit of a gray area. But I think for most products, if somebody comes to you and they say they want to import shoes from Guangzhou, or they want to bring, I don't know, honey to China, then it's quite clear where you can find there's a regulation for it and which paperwork you need and accreditation.
Yeah, and my God, especially if you're doing products for kids, there are a lot of things that are a must if you want to do it. Like either because, and there are so many people that want to sell baby clothes, children clothes, like toys, because it's a big market, right? And there are always new kids, so there's always the need of it. So I'm like, you really need to pay attention to this. It's just not as easy as just making it and sending it, and that's it. If one day a customer, believe it or not, gets a rash out of a t-shirt, or the kid puts the toy in their mouth, or they caught, you might be in trouble. It could damage your reputation, which is the most common thing that will happen. But it can be worse, right? Like it can be like a lawsuit. It can be like terrible. So people really need to be careful on that, and they need to ask those questions.
Yeah, and I think, as King Future said over on YouTube, especially right now where there's no fairs taking place. So lots of cases, people have maybe never even actually met their trade partner that they're talking to. They've only, they've maybe only spoken to them online. So.
Yeah, so I think this are fun because recently I posted like best times where you can find new products, like trends in China. And there are two times that I have spotted in my experience where it's very good for you to start sourcing. And it's after Chinese New Year, because they need to come up with new things. It's a little bit slow, but they usually do launches for the year. And also in summer, right before the Canton Fair at the end of the year. Why? Because they're already preparing for this. Now, he's mentioning that there are not exports. Absolutely true. A lot of expos have stopped because of COVID. And like, for example, Canton Fair is just, it was not allowed for Chinese people. It was only for foreigners. So how do they do? Most of the expos right now in China, they have virtual summit. So you can just go on the website, you can check out the requirements, and you can just go there virtually, which I think is actually a huge benefit that came from COVID, because there were people that just couldn't afford to come to those expos because it implied a full travel. Now you can be in a tiny island, be online, be on internet, and go to this expo, because now they're really pushing this in order to keep having international business. So I think from this bad situation, something really good came out of it.
And of course, now you can go just for 2 hours. I mean, you can literally, you can buy a day pass, and you don't have to, like, I mean, to go to the Canton Fair, you have to, in the past, you have to fly to China. You have to account for maybe 1 day additional to the travel. You have to account for 1 day to recover from the jet lag, from the journey. It's expensive. All the hotels cost more or less double what they normally cost, because it's Canton Fair, so they increase
Canton Fair. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Crazy.
Yeah,
and it's like gazillions of people. I mean,
and it's not as used to be like before. Like the thing is that the Canton Fair is famous because everybody they gather, and it's like huge, right? You have almost every single manufacturer there, but you also have a lot of traders. So the Canton Fair is mostly for you to train yourself. If you haven't been there before and you haven't done sourcing before, you can start there, but don't finish there, because the prices that they will give you, the product that you will see, is just for you to start like knocking the door onto what it is on finding new products in China.
Yeah. And I think it's also about, like you said, it's this idea, you come with an idea, I would like to have this kind of a product. And you go to the Canton Fair and you see that there are maybe 50 people who offer something, or maybe more, who offer something similar to that, but they're all a little bit different. So maybe you see something that you hadn't considered in any way, shape, or form
Absolutely.
before that.
Yeah, yeah.
And it gives you new ideas, and you need to actually go away and really think about, again, how to improve on the product which you had as a basic concept in your mind. I mean,
Yeah, no,
it's
absolutely. I think you are absolutely right on that. It will give you also ideas because you can check the competitors, you can check what they're suggesting in China based on manufacturing capability. Absolutely, it's a good way. Yeah.
yeah. And so you mentioned that not asking about accreditation from a
Yeah.
supplier and not making sure that they can issue the correct documentation, that these are like one of the frequent things that people don't ask. So I'm guessing that this is
Yeah.
also one of the most frequent mistakes.
Absolutely.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah. That
and
and not asking for
and
a sample.
but then again, what you also hear is people ask for a sample and they receive a sample and they see that they have a really nice sample.
Yeah.
But then how do they make sure that the actual delivery, when they order a bigger quantity, how do they make sure that that quality actually matches with the
That's the third
quality of the
mistake.
sample
Yeah.
they received? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the third mistake. So those three mistakes come hand in hand. The documentation that they need for the product to be able to be export. The second is like not asking for a sample because some buyers they want to start, and there is a lot of misunderstanding online that you can start business with China or drop shipping with China with very little money. But you really need to have a very good supplier for this, and they don't want to pay for the sample. And if you're doing your own, actually, no matter what, ask for a sample. Like pay for it. It's like $20, $30, $50 a sample or prototype. And the third mistake that they do is that they don't inspect the goods. Like they wanna, it's becoming more expensive. I'm absolutely aware of that. It used to be cheaper to hire the services of auditing the factory or visiting a factory, especially now because of COVID, and they know that people cannot travel. So these services have increased, but
Of
it's
course.
still something that you should have. Like you should definitely pay the $200-$300 for the service for a day and make sure that the what you are buying is really what you're getting.
Yeah. But I mean, there are countries, of course, where this is actually specified by law. So you have to,
Yeah.
if you're ordering something, then you have
Mm,
to employ someone like SGS to do a pre-shipment inspection and to make sure that the
absolutely.
quality and
I-
quantity is as per
the-
purchase
there
order.
is something called like pre-shipment inspections, which is like PVOC and VOCs, what are like super famous for Middle East. And Egypt is one of the toughest markets where you need to inspect pretty much everything. Like they don't only inspect while they're doing manufacture, but they also have to inspect before you ship the goods, issue certification, and then they can enter the market. So there
Yeah,
are places where they're super, super tough on this.
yeah. And like Kate said, it's tricky and it's expensive. But if you don't go ahead and do this, then it's even more expensive because it might look like it's expensive upfront, but if you save that money and then you get a whole container load of products that you actually can't sell because they're not what they should be or the
Yeah,
quality is not as good, this is at least 5 times more expensive than just paying a couple of $100 for the inspection upfront.
yeah, no, and I always tell them like, listen, there are like different. There is a whole range of type of inspections. There is not just during production or pre-shipment. There is like so many types of inspections that you can do. Uh, you at least should do a pre-shipment inspection. If you cannot do all the range of inspections that are available out there, at least a pre-shipment inspection, because that way you can make sure that you can ask the supplier to do corrections, or they can take responsibility. Once the goods are out of China, forget about it. It's very hard to make any manufacturer to respond for it, especially
Yeah.
if it's Asia. So no matter the country, to be honest, in Asia, it's extremely hard. And I kind of saw there somebody was asking about transportation. Unfortunately, my friend, we are right now in a difficult situation with logistics. Shipping via air, via sea is becoming very, very expensive. There is not really much nobody can do. This is absolutely out of control from everybody. This is an international situation. And the best thing that you can do is a strategy on how to ship your goods. Either you extend the timeline for your delivery so that you can reduce the cost, or you consolidate all your goods from different manufacturers so you also drop the cost of that. But it's really, really hard to have any kind of prediction on this.
Yeah. And I think that also it got worse. I mean, up until middle of February, then of course Europeans were also shipping quite a lot of products
Yeah.
via rail, and of course those rail routes via Russia are closed right now,
Close, yeah.
which just makes everything even more expensive and more.
Yes. No, I mean, gas went up for everything. Containers have stopped in China. They're like still lots of containers, like stock imports in China that have made it worse. Of course, this means less planes available, less ships available, and basic economics. If we don't have a lot of something, it will become more expensive. So
Yeah,
that's just something that we need to work with, right? That's why everything is more expensive, guys. I mean, one of the many reasons.
And I mean, if somebody is literally just starting out for sourcing in China, where do you recommend that they go to look right now when they say, okay, the Canton Fair is not really that easy an option, or some kind of the Import Expo is also not such an option, or the various trade fairs that take place. So a lot of people, they start out and they go directly to Alibaba, I guess, for looking for a supplier. And I mean, to me, when I go to look on Alibaba at what products there are, just to play on the platform, as it were, it's really hard to say what is the difference between all of these 50, 100, 200, 1,000 companies.
Absolutely.
Who all tell me that they can offer my product.
No, I feel like
price.
that happens the same. I think that it happens the same even if you're in person. Like I used to walk to the expos. I used to go to the famous markets in China, in Yiwu, in Guangzhou. Like I went to every single market that I could. And after a while, you just see red, blue, all the same. So I think there's so much of it that the best strategy is to do really a deep analysis of what you want based on certain criteria. Like, do they have the right paperwork? Do they have the right quality? Do they have the right price for you? Because otherwise, I mean, you can have many smartphones, right? A company that manufactures smartphones, but one smartphone will be high end, and another smartphone is going to be not so much a high end. So you really need to be specific of the business model that you want to have, the budget that you have, and then make a plan. If you cannot go to the expos, I still think that sourcing through Alibaba, to global sources, to Made in China, through some of the other ones, AliExpress, like, which by the way, I know that it's blocked in India and it has been difficult for them. I still think it's a good way to start, as long as you understand the steps and don't get caught up with the first things that you see. I have few people that have come to me and they're like, "Oh, I got scammed on Alibaba," and I was like, "Show me the case, like show me." They went for the first thing that they do. I realize is that they go and they click on the cheapest price. They find like the cheapest product and they already feel like this is a winner. It's the product that I want. It's the cheapest. And I'm like, guys, that price that you see, it's just for you to click. Don't do that. Like really, really check out, compare, talk to them, ask them to send you photos. Like be patient. And I feel like a lot of people are not patient enough to really do a full profiling of the manufacturers that they want to work with. And that's a mistake. That's a mistake, especially if you're doing sourcing while you are not able to travel.
Yeah. And I think people, they kind of have it in their head that buying products online is literally, you look at the product and what you see is exactly what you get, and you just need to click on it and buy it. And they don't realize that, like with everything else, especially when you're talking about buying sourcing products via AliExpress or Alibaba, that that is more, those companies are regular trading companies, and AliExpress is one of their platforms for doing business.
Yeah.
And that what you get on there, if you actually have some specific requests, if you find a company who makes something similar, you probably can go to them and say, I actually would like this, but I need it to be a bit bigger. I need it in red, not in green. And
Yeah. So,
and then they
it's,
will do you a specific price, which is going to be a
yeah.
different one.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is one thing that somebody asked me recently. Some of my followers on Facebook reached out to me and said, like, Laura, I'm having this issue. I placed an order on Alibaba. I already pay. It's I can't. Sorry, I cannot remember the product right now. But it was a product that the MOQ was small. I think it was like 300 pieces only. It was not a really big quantity considered China. And this person mid order realized that they needed for marketing strategy and their customer, they needed the product slightly bigger. And he did the right thing. He came back with the manufacturer, said, hey, I need my product instead of size A, I need size B, which is slightly bigger. And the manufacturer said, well, your MOQ is going to be 3,000 pieces now. And he's like, what? I cannot buy 3,000 pieces. What's going on? And so I had to explain to them that there are two types of product that you can do in China. The product that we call white label, right? Like, because you just buy it, it is what it is, and you just
The
put your
standard
label.
product. Yeah.
The standard product that is in stock. And this standard product will be 10 pieces, 50 pieces, 100 pieces. You cannot change it. And then will be the product that you want to change, the product that you want maybe with one type of size, maybe with an extra hook or like whatever. That's the one that is called like customized product. And if you do any kind of change, no matter how small it is, the manufacturer needs to do big changes in the whole change. And they will increase the price or they will increase the quantity. So you really need to be super specific from the beginning. What do you need? Because if you go to Alibaba, you will realize that sometimes you find 10 suppliers and they have the same photo. And you're like, how is that possible? And it's like, well, because it's just a stock photo. Like that it's impossible to have photos of the real product all the time. So they're just giving you an example of it. So before you get excited, talk to them, give them the full specification of it, and then get a quotation, and then
Yeah.
decide.
And to be honest, all of those suppliers on Alibaba, they are very, very responsive because they're used to working customer service in the same way that China works customer service. So they give you very fast replies to your question. There may
Oh
be,
yeah,
you need to be a little bit careful that you really understood what they're telling you, but you will get, very quick answers from them, much quicker than you would do from a European supplier if you. And
yes, for
I
sure,
mean,
yeah.
I used to work for a European supplier, and if you came to me and you said you would like to have that product, but you would like a different label on it, then the lead time and the MOQ is a completely different one than when you come and you say, I need a specific recipe because of my
Yeah,
national
yeah.
regulations. I need something. Then you have to order more. You have to probably pay the ingredients up front because it's something I only buy in for you. And
Yeah,
China is no different on the sourcing
it's
front.
not different.
It's
Yeah, it's
yeah,
not different. You want a product that is up to your specifications, quantity and price will be one thing. You want something that already exists in the market and it's already just put your logo in there. And even if your logo is not as easy to just place, the quantity might be another thing. So you really need to be super careful on how you ask a quotation. And that's one thing. Like, I feel like people really need to make a little bit of an effort on how they communicate with Chinese suppliers. Because I will dare to say that 99% of the time, the problems that they have is miscommunication. And one big part of it is that culturally speaking, we speak just differently. They have a completely different language, right? And sometimes they're trying to explain something to you, and they will not dare to offend you, and they will not dare to be unpolite. So if you
yeah.
didn't get it, they will not tell you, oh, you didn't get it. So you might as well ask the questions. Like, be straightforward, ask them what you need, tell them what you need, and make sure that they get it, right? Like, not just on the phone, on WhatsApp, on WeChat, on email, on every single medium communication. Just make sure that the message that you want to send is on all of them, and then confirm that they get it.
Yeah. And I think it's also that thing of, you need yourself to be very, let's say, aware of this idea that maybe also what they're saying to you, that you have to read between the lines, that they're not going to always communicate something very, very directly in the same way that a Dutch supplier might tell you, sorry, but I can't do that. And they might be trying to tell you, they might be saying to you that they can't, they might be saying to you the MOQ is suddenly 50,000 and not 50, simply because they can't actually do it. And they just want to, they just
get out
want
of the
you
way.
to
Absolutely.
get
Yeah,
out
that
of the
happens
way.
a lot.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. I have seen few people and I've known a few manufacturers that they just keep just. First of all, guys, to anybody that is here, let me tell you something. It's just not polite to say no in China. So it's just not polite. They will not tell you no. So you really need to find ways in order to understand if they're not capable to provide something for you. And usually, like you mentioned it, they will give you ridiculous amounts of like quantity that you need to manufacture. They will give you a ridiculous price just to get out of the deal. So take the hint. Really take the hint. Like, if you're incapable, don't be scared. If a supplier is just not showing that they can work smoothly with you, just move on to another one. Like, there is such a big market, it's such a big country. If a supplier doesn't have the price that you want, doesn't have the quantity that you want, move on.
Yeah. Or if you're getting bad, let's say if you're getting bad vibes from them, if you just feel like
Absolutely. Yeah.
if it just doesn't gel, then just go to the next one. I mean,
Yeah. You're
don't get
talking
hung
about.
up on it.
Absolutely. I mean, you're spending your money, you're spending your time. Some people really spend their savings on this. Be careful. Take care of your money the same way like you will take care of your health. Like, be absolutely careful. Check every single detail. Don't be impulsive. And if a supplier is not right for you for whatever the reason, just move on. Just find another way, and delay a little bit your project, but make sure that you're not losing your money, because you don't want to, right? Nobody's doing this to lose money.
Yeah. And I think that especially in the last couple of years, a lot of people who've had projects where they've been sourcing their products from China, there's enough strains and enough things that you can't control, because the logistics is taking longer and the logistics is much more expensive. So obviously your money is tied up in buying product and having it basically at sea for or stuck in port, but at least it's not in your warehouse and you can't sell it. And so I think that a lot of people have been struggling on that front, and so it's even more important to make sure that you really have the right suppliers from upfront, and to actually spend that time to talk to people, and to maybe to get off AliExpress, and to really say to them, look, can we jump on a video call of some kind? It doesn't matter what platform you use, but just to talk with that person face to face, as it were, have a virtual tea with them. And
no, absolutely. No, and if you are starting, guys, if your budget is small, don't go for the cheapest random company of logistics that you don't even can pronounce the name. Go for DHL and FedEx. Go for the safe one, especially if you're starting, because probably you still don't have the connections. So a lot of people sometimes try to find these small forwarding companies or logistic companies in China. I also have clients that they made this mistake. And I'm not saying they're all bad, okay? Like, there are many ones that are starting and they're legit and they want to help. But it takes time to find those that are very good, especially now that you cannot travel. So if you have a small budget and you are scared and you want your products not to take 1 month or 2 months, use DHL. Honestly, open a business account on DHL or FedEx or UPS that is like 40% cheaper than a normal person and ship through that. It will be slightly more expensive, but not much more than the regulars right now, because everything is just pretty much high. And go for the safe, because DHL will have an insurance. You will be able to track your products and they will arrive. Like recently, I shipped appliances samples from China to Mexico, 5 days.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And you can also, let's say you've got the comeback. If something happens, you can go to DHL, you can go to their customer service and say, it arrived and it was damaged. It's not like it's a small company somewhere in a garage that when you go back to
Yeah,
them and say there was a problem with this shipment, they just don't pick up the phone because maybe they don't exist, or maybe they don't want to talk to you, probably if they think they did something wrong, or they
yeah,
sold your
exactly.
products somewhere.
Yeah, also,
they,
guys, insurance your products.
yeah,
Buy an
yeah,
insurance. It's not that it's expensive, honestly, and you want to be safe.
yeah. And I think that a lot of these things that, to be honest, I think that many of the things, if they were going to buy a used car in their own country, they would take care of these things. They would get somebody to check it out. They would get a mechanic to check it out. They would make sure that it didn't have a bad previous history. You would do this due diligence up front. And I think
Yeah, yeah.
you have to do it if you're purchasing products from a country as well. And just because China has a reputation of being cheap, I think China is no longer firstly, China is no longer so cheap for all products.
Yeah.
And Chinese quality doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad quality. I mean, almost all of us run through life with a piece of Chinese technology
Yeah,
in our back
yeah, yeah.
pockets
I think
from various
it's
brands.
a I think it's a misconception now. I think it's a misunderstanding. I think it's I straightforward. I think it's a mistake when people say Chinese products are low quality. I'm like, no, you're buying your brand or the product that you're buying, they are buying low quality, because in China you get what you pay for. If you
Yeah,
want very cheap product, you will have very cheap quality. If you want a high end quality, well, it's not gonna be as cheap, right? I mean,
yep,
a lot of brands manufactured here, from luxury brands to Walmart. I mean, it's
yep,
like they all manufactured here. They had different qualities in the standards. The difference here, or the key thing here, is that when you have a market with a lot of competition for almost any electronic, any garment, like all the things that an entrepreneur maybe might think about manufacturing in China, there are like so many that you need to have a good strategy on how to make your product different. Otherwise, they're gonna eat you alive. Like Apple app, like iPhone can sell iPhones because they're iPhones. They're Apple. Like
yep.
they're a brand. They already built a brand. They already built a reputation, and they took a lot of work. I mean, they have been around for 30 years now. So a lot of people don't want to do that, and they want to make profit like this. And you need to do the work.
Yeah. No, I think that is a very good point to kind of close out on a little bit, because I think people they need to do the work, and they need to take the time to build the relationship with their suppliers, um,
Absolutely.
and to do what it takes to do it. So there's no let's say silver bullet solutions in international business. Whether you're exporting, whether you're importing, it's often a slow process,
It
but
is. It is. It
yeah.
is. You need to do the work. You need to do the work. And if you have no idea of anything, you need to learn.
Hmm. And so, Laura, my final question that I
Yeah.
like to ask everybody is, what advice would you give to your younger self starting out on your international journey, knowing what you do now?
That's a very good question. And if I think of how I came to China, if I had a time machine or a phone call to myself, I would say, you know what? Learn more about the culture. Like really try to understand the culture a little bit more, because understanding what is important for them what they like, what do they like, how they think, how they behave. I mean, it's not 100% that you will get it right, but having a little bit of understanding that we're just different people, different culture, different language. Like in my case, I speak Spanish, they speak Chinese. We cannot be far apart. Uh, if I hadn't taken the time, because I didn't take the time, I just packed my bags and came to China, and I heard Chinese for the first time when I stepped on the airport of Shanghai, and I was like, "What? Like, what did I do?" I was in shock. I think if I had taken just a little bit of time to study about the language, about the culture, it would have saved me a lot, because my communication has improved, and actually many of my communication skills that I didn't have and I have now, I developed because of these challenges. That helped me a lot to develop. I got friends, I got better connections. I've been able to apply to better jobs. I've been able to have good suppliers that I work. I have suppliers that I work for 12 years, really 12 years. I have suppliers that we sometimes just have dinner together. They're like, "Hey, Laura, let's have dinner." I'm like, "Sure, let's have bajo and and play mahjong and that I always lose." But that's the friendship and that's the culture, and it
Yeah.
happens once a month, and they are super loyal. They're people that if you understand that what they want is the same thing as you, they want to make a living and they want to make it right, they will be there for you. That's something that
Yeah.
it took me some time to learn, and a lot of people misunderstand this culture. I'm not saying that there are not things that I don't like. There are many things that I don't like, but that's not the point. The point is to understand that we're different, and either I
Yeah.
like it or not. If I learn how to communicate, and if I learn to express myself as well, has given me the tools to develop myself, and now that's why I want to teach it.
Yeah. No, I
That's what
agree.
I will
And I
say.
think that you don't have to like, you probably also don't like all of the aspects of your home culture, but
Exactly.
you
Many.
you know yeah, I mean,
Those
it's the same.
Mexicans.
I mean, it would be the same for me with the UK or with Austria, that there are many aspects that I would sit and say, okay, this is not, I don't really like this, but it is the way
Yeah.
that it is, and you have to learn to know how to deal with it, and how to talk to the people and to
Yeah.
build the
Yeah, for sure.
relationships.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure, for sure. Also because like I have my T-shirt, right? Like we try to be equal for everybody. Like and we need to set out example. We need to be respectful to everybody,
Yeah.
regardless if we agree on something or not.
Yes.
It goes beyond business. Actually, especially because we're doing international business, we
Yeah.
need to have a level of open mind, and that we need to deal with people that might be from a religion that you don't agree with, or that might be from a country you don't agree with. It's not the point. The point is that we coexist. We're citizens of this world, and we need to communicate. Otherwise, we are not going to move forward as a society. And that's something that I will definitely tell to myself before I came to China, because it was the first country that I visited. It was the first time I was out of my country, and it was a completely shock, and I was in denial for a few days. I was like, no, what did I do? And it was a lot of work, and I was like, so just learn about other people, and it will tell you a lot about them, and it will tell you a lot about yourself too,
Yeah.
because if you cannot have this open mind, it will be a lot of work for you to do business with anybody. I mean, unless you just want to stay in your country, which is fine too. But if you want to be international, you need to think international. If you want to be a citizen of the first world country, behave like one.
Yeah. Exactly. And I think you always, especially when you're working internationally, if you don't have this open mind, then you won't get very far. And
Yeah.
at least everywhere that I visited, if you say to people, tell me about, explain to me about your culture, or if somebody says to
Mm.
you, oh, it's this festival next week, it's Chinese New
Yeah.
Year, or it's
Yeah.
Qingming, or it's
Yeah.
whatever, and you say to them, well, how do you celebrate that? What is special about it? People are usually happy. I've never met somebody yet who wasn't happy to at least explain to you what are the basics and what are the special things that you eat. And, you know, is it a family festival or is it a festival you just celebrate by going out with friends? Those kind of things make a huge difference.
Yeah, and that's the part that I love about international business, that multicultural world, and that we get to know other people, we get to to interact in different ways, and you can tell a lot about a culture in the way they do business, to be honest.
That's true. That's extremely true. And I think on that point, I will say thank you very, very much for taking the time this evening. I know it's quite late for you.
It's okay.
It's been fantastic to talk as ever.
And thank you so much.
Yeah, and I will look forward to our next discussion.
Yes. Bye.